Welcome to the Raise Up Mindset podcast with your hosts, Charlie and Athena Grimm.
Hey guys, welcome to our podcast, Raise Up Mindset. And today we're going to be talking about what nobody told us about leadership. And I have Athena with me.
There's a long list.
So yeah, again, we talk about no book. There is lots of books on leadership, but we started at a younger age, and we didn't really have a lot of people that were guiding us through things at that time. We were I think we were just kind of moving ourselves through it and trying to figure out the best way possible how to run a company. And we've had lots of renditions of that. If we were doing like our cars, like when we buy a new car, we put like Bach 12 Bach 12.3. That's the third 12 we had. We'd be like on a redundance 1,000 of changing the way we do leadership.
Yeah, I think about the first set of employees I had, and oh my gosh, it was bad. It was so bad. Like I had no clue what I was doing. And yeah. Well,
you got to look at it again here as an individual. We were able to accomplish the jobs that we were doing. And I think that what you're thinking is your cleaning company, when you had your cleaning company. And then, I had my lawn maintenance, snow plowing, ice cream trucks. I had all these different venues to make money and do these things, but nobody really taught us. We had a few people that did things around us, and we usually worked for somebody else that did it, and then we thought we could do this better, or we saw an opportunity for it, and we knew how to clean. So then how do you put that together? How do you take your cleaning company? How do you buy your supplies? It's just not cleaning. There's so much more to it. Just like BAC, we bought 2 limos and a bus, and we were going to figure it out, and we didn't have a playbook. We didn't know nothing, but we knew that we could probably make it work. And it was just like, you roll through some harder knocks a little bit that way, but if you could have somebody else that could help mentor you through some of this stuff, you'll save yourself a lot of time. And, if you're just sitting there willing to listen
or if you decide to pay to play.
Yes.
And you're paying for a mentor. That wasn't really an option. I didn't see that as an option for myself. The first business that I had employees, I started at the age of 20. I had never been a supervisor of anybody but my kid. And I am not convinced that I was doing all that well at that age. And I don't even think I really possessed great self-awareness. And so my interpersonal skills were not awesome. I was very headstrong. I didn't receive feedback very well. And I just kind of was on my own bulldozing program. And so those were all aspects where I don't even know that I would have been able to receive back then.
Well, I think you were able to receive. I just matter who it came from. Like we didn't receive each other sometimes so well.
Yes, we didn't receive each other.
So you got that there because we were, I wouldn't say in competition, but we were both trying to figure out our leadership skills, and we still do that sometimes, and our leadership skills are totally different in a lot of different areas, and they're the same in some. So I think there was a lot of pushing back and forth with it, but I didn't run your company at the time, and you didn't run my company, but we helped each other with our companies. So I think everything happens for a reason. And I think we had to go through that to get to where we're at now, because if we didn't, I don't know if we'd be at the same place, because all those hard knocks of learning how to do it, not the way to do it, taught us the way to do it.
And if you caught last episode about gratitude, it definitely layered in the gratitude in a way that we would not have had it been just easy.
Yeah, listen, a layup is always nice. If you got a wide open layup and you can take the 2 points, it's great. But, we like to shoot from the 3 line once in a while, and
I think more than once in a while.
Yeah, and that's kind of our shot, because we know that we can do a twofer. We can get 3 points instead of 2. But again, guys, it took time. It's between all of our businesses and what we have together and the time we have it, we probably have over 60 years of business experience between the two of us, maybe 70, if you combine the years each of us have done it. But we still don't have it down pat, guys. I mean, we're still learning every day. And if you think you have it down pat, you really don't, because you might have it up to a certain point, but there's always room for improvement. I mean, there's always room for improvement.
Yes, there's new information coming through all the time.
Yeah, so go ahead, sorry.
Something else that comes to my mind about no one really told us about was early on, like understanding the business structure and the tax structure. That was something that, it's almost like finances 101 when you're running a business. We had to figure it out by losing money or having a penalty, or it was this very reactive space. And it just speaks to having a guide is so important.
Yeah. When you talk to the IRS about things, they said, hey, if you have the choice of paying your IRS bill or buying your baby medication, pay your IRS bill, because you can always take the baby to the hospital. It's crazy when you think about 941s and taxes and things that you had, because again, going to apply for a business license, $35, $55, whatever it is now, $100.
You don't need to take a test.
You don't need to take a test, and then go get a business license, and then you go get your checking account, and then and so in business they didn't teach you about all the different. We didn't get taught in the very beginning about all the different taxes and structures and workman's comp, and it was a play to get. It was as play as you go. We were paying to play. And sometimes we ended up paying more money than we made, and sometimes we're robbing Peter to pay Paul, and you're taking next month's invoices to pay this month. But again, as you work into it, you'll see that there is light at the end of the tunnel. And almost anybody that you're friends with that owns a business will help you through it. And if they have a successful business and they have good employees, and a lot of people have been around them for a long time, there's probably some people you want to listen to, because there's a reason they're successful and the reason that the people are staying employed there. Right now people can get jobs. The market is still very much so looking for employees. And so there's not an abundance of them out there. So if you got people that's staying with you for a long time and they're happy and they're living a good lifestyle, those are people kind of you want to take some information from and get some help. And especially new startup companies. I mean, you might have had some money left to you, you saved a bunch of money and you bought that first plow truck, or you bought your first cleaning business, or you're doing window cleaning, whatever you might be doing in your endeavors. But there's ways to make sure that you're protecting your money.
Yes, and that could mean you have certain insurances. That could mean that you're structuring your business in a particular way. That could mean that you have rules set up around what your expenses are going to be for the month, like a budget. I would say that those are all aspects that we definitely learned over time. And we also had to get on the same page with who is going to do what as well. That was something that nobody taught us. We had to figure out, okay, how does our relationship exist within this structure of what we decided we were doing for revenue together?
Yeah. Well, and we realized that some companies were just not worth keeping, and some others were, and some other jobs that we did were good and some weren't. So I mean, again, your business plan has to match what you're looking for. And we didn't really have a plan back then. We just kind of just did it, and we took on almost everything. And I remember telling Athena, I'm like, we have hardware sitting out here and we just have to take the trips. We got iron sitting out here, we can do it. But we were beating our drivers on these 15-hour days, and they're allowed to drive 15 hours a day, but does it make it, should they? We try to keep it under that pack, because we have no idea what the next day is going to look like, or if they get trapped up somewhere, or if there's an accident somewhere. So there were so many different ideas of ways you could do it, because we were trying to maximize everything that we had. But sometimes we just realized that trip is not worth it. I mean, are we going to risk somebody being overtired or fatigued, or they're missing their kids' first basketball game because we've asked them to do it and they're so willing to help. I mean, what were the sacrifices then?
Yes, and I think that's probably a good lead into, we've basically realized that we have identified where sacrifice shows up, and we know we want to go the other direction, because when any of us are in a place of sacrifice or survival mode, there is no optimization. It's literally, you're just getting through, and we've chosen that's not how we want to live our life, is just getting through.
Yeah. So, we had some friends that just sold their businesses and doing some stuff, and one of them stayed on for a couple extra 3 or 4 years to do it, and they golden handcuffed them and stuff like this. And they were paying him really good money, but after talking to him last night, I was sitting there talking to him, and he's like, I could have stayed on for a couple years. I stayed on for 4, and they kept making it just nicer and nicer and nicer. But he goes, after I retired, I just realized that I had more than enough to retire. I had more than enough for ourselves, and I worked 4 extra years. And as you start to get older, you'll understand that you want to, when you take these vacations, you want to be able to get out and move and walk and go do these things and enjoy it and be part of the crowd. But when you're in your late, when unfortunately a lot of people that when they retire in their mid 60s and 70s, that area of time is less and less, where you're as much mobile as you want to be, or you want to be able to go do the cool things and zip line, do whatever else. And there's people out there in 70, 80 still doing it, but it is less and less,
yes.
And you have less of a timeline to do that. So when's enough is enough. And again, that's something that I think we talk about with a lot of our friends, because we're all on that second side of the book. We're on the back chapters of the book, and we want to figure out what's that exit plan look like, what's that going to be part of your life. And and the leadership, again, nobody tells you when you're supposed to hang it up and when you're not, and when's the best time. So we've hired people to let us know kind of what our company's worth, what we're doing, and how we're doing it. So it gives us an idea of what we're looking at and what our end game is. And a lot of you guys are in the beginning stages. Some of you guys are in the middle stages, but it's never too late to think about what your exit plan might be, or what it is, because part of the leadership is making sure that your team's taken care of too, and the company, whoever you're going to sell it to or do it, or however you're going to do it, dismantle it, is going to be taken care of also, and your customers and all the other stuff. There's so much time that we spent in developing these relationships. How are we going to do a soft handover to them?
Yeah, and I think this speaks to me as how we set goals around here is we start with the end in mind. And so we imagine what this thing looks like painted done, and then we back it out from there. And so that's a really good point, Charlie, that's something that never entered our minds when we were first starting, was at the end of this, what do we want this to look like? And
we didn't know what it looked like then.
but that's another aspect
Sure.
of it that it never even occurred to us to be like, okay, well, we want to retire in 20 years. And so if we were to retire in 20 years, what is it that we're imagining the income level should be? How do you tack on inflation to that? What type of structures do I want to start leaning into now within the organization if I plan on keeping this business for 20 years? It could be something as simple as, I imagine that I want to have this much money per month when I retire. And you could start there and understand, well, that's going to take a really clear understanding of what your monthly expenses are personally, and then maybe working just getting the momentum going in the idea alone, especially if you're new in business. Just have that simmering in the back somewhere. What will it look like when I'm done with this?
And remember, if you're a smaller company and you are the company, if you're the bookkeeper and you're the solo bookkeeper, that's your company, that's fine, but you don't really have your exit plan might be totally different than a company that has 100 or 200 employees.
Yeah, it could be just you're selling a client list, and that's what your plan is.
Yes. And so, again, then the leadership side of that is that you have to know what that plan is. And we have been more intentional in having friends and people that have been selling and doing that, and just asking the questions. And it's so funny. It's like, when I called this person yesterday, they took a half an hour, 45 minutes of their time, just told me all about what they were doing and how it was done and how they did it. And it was very voluntary information. I asked, and he's like, call me anytime if you want any more questions about this. So again, there is people for you to reach out to. And if you feel like it's might be competition that's too close to you or something like that, find another company in another state that's not competition to you and figure out what that looks like. Again, peer groups, 20 groups, all those other things, those are the ones that are going to help you, teach you about that leadership and get those leadership skills. And somebody already might have policies written up. We've been to lots of our 20 groups that somebody needed a policy and somebody had it in their computer and they shot it over in an email in 2 minutes. Now with ChatGPT, they'll write everything you want up. And
Chat can hallucinate those, so watch out for that.
Read over the top of it.
Yeah, but I think really that's the theme is that, nobody told us about these aspects of leadership, but we also didn't know that we could ask. And if you have the courage to just start asking and start intentionally choosing some mentors, and maybe not overwhelming them with 101 questions, but maybe this guy at this networking thing, he knows some things about this, and you're just running some questions by him. But it's being willing to receive the information, and not everything you can use, but some of it, like our friend with the insurance, I think we probably are going to save him a bunch of money by giving him that. I mean,
100%.
My gut is telling me it's going to work. And so that was just, and I think that is a little bit of vulnerability. Like, you have to be willing to be vulnerable a little, and like talking about something that you're struggling with. That isn't like diving into the depths of his soul. It's just, hey, this has been weighing on my mind. I'm going to be dealing with double insurance premiums. And
that talks about one of our questions. What's the emotional weight that we carry on our shoulders? I mean, I think financially, emotionally, I think the emotional weight is very hard. I mean, you have payrolls, you have expectations, you have taxes, you have your monthly nut on your cars. I mean, all that emotional weight. And then you have some people that like to slow pay you. And then all of a sudden they owe you $500,000, $1 million, and then you're trying to collect from them, and you're trying to keep enough in reserves, and you have all these things in there, and all that stuff goes through our mind all the time. And you get people that are employees or people working at other companies are like, oh man, you have it made. You guys get to go travel, you know this. They don't realize the first 15 years that we had our company, we didn't travel anywhere. We worked.
And in fact, for a season of our businesses, we actually lived above the shop.
We did.
In this tiny little
I love that little place.
two room spot with a kitchenette.
No, it was a real kitchen. It had a kitchen. It had everything. It wasn't a big kitchen.
Whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, it wasn't a kitchenette, but it did. But that was part of our of us realizing that we could save some money. We had the place up there, and it was a very short time. I think we weren't up there more than a year and a half.
But it was a regroup season for us, especially after the snow plowing situation, and we hunkered down.
Yeah, and again, we were humble, but we didn't go without. We didn't have anything that we did fine, and it was fun, and I really enjoyed living above that place. I was never late to work because I just walked down the stairs, so it was awesome. So, and the employees knew how to get to us, but we never want to do that now. I mean, I would never want to live above my shop because I wouldn't want to hear all the employees and everybody else coming in. We like our peace and quiet. But again, another area that we went to that we learned how to there. But emotional weight, guys, I think that's going to be one of the toughest things that you are going into. Do I buy this vehicle? Do I weigh it off? Do I do this? Do I switch insurance companies? I mean, there's so much that you have in there, and I'm lucky that Athena and I get to bounce some of that stuff off each other, and we have some people to be able to bounce things off of and talk to them, and our insurance people are great. We've made friends with our insurance people. We have tried to partner with everybody that we work with and talk to them and get the best information possible, but that weight sometimes can be very overwhelming. You can see people in alcoholism, you can see drugs, you can see all kinds of things because they're just looking for an escape outside of it. And
because it's so heavy and they don't have an outlet to kind of let some of the steam out to get some information.
And if you have friends and other people that are business owners, to reach out to them. If you have friends, parents that are business owners, reach out to them if they've done it, because somebody has already done what you've tried to do, and they have the secret recipe. I mean, you don't have to figure out what the KFC recipe is if you have everybody else that knows it. You don't have to try to figure it out. You have to just go and ask some questions. And like I said, vulnerable, I mean, we've been so vulnerable at times that we've just spilled it all out and let people know what's going on. And then other times we're kind of more reserved and we're like, okay, this is not what we're trying to let everybody know, but usually when our groups were super good, I mean, everybody's pretty upfront. I mean, we've heard some people say some pretty crazy stuff. We're like, did he say that out loud? But that was him asking for help,
Yes,
And you have to be prepared for it. He might laugh a little bit, but then but this guy's really putting it on the line that he's struggling with something and he needs some help with it. And would you guys be willing to do it? And usually when you get 20 like-minded A-type personalities in there, everybody's got a solution to your problem.
Yeah, I think something else that comes to my mind is if you think about it, every time you decide to face that, whatever it is, the fear of somebody knowing that you're dealing with this, or the fear of just actually overcoming the challenge, courage is just there waiting for you. As soon as you decide to face the fear, which it's the decision first, before you do anything, then it's like courage shows up, grabs your hand, walks you through the door, and afterwards, usually it's like, oh my gosh, it wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad after all, like bringing it up to so-and-so, or finally dealing with it. I should have taken care of it a long time ago, instead of like catastrophizing in your mind and being stressed out and going into avoiding behavior. There's been plenty of times where I have myself ran in these loops, especially earlier on. And I remember the first summer that I was doing operations manager position, I took everything personal, that I was personally failing, and I felt like a steamroller was just going over me every day. And I finally just had this epiphany about, I have to pull this together. I cannot just be letting this suck the life out of me every day. I've got to get in front of this. And how do I do that? I need help.
Yeah. And I think that goes into our next question, is the unexpected joys of leadership. When you're asking for help, those are some of the things. And I know that some of the things that I know that we see in leadership is seeing people succeed.
Yes, I love that part.
Having people take their first time EMT test, or the first time they get their CDL, or you see somebody pull up in a brand new car when they used to have a car that wasn't so brand new, and they got it, or getting the word that somebody approved for a house and they have their house,
and they're the first person to own a home in their family lineage.
Yeah, and and I always go back to COVID sometimes, but after COVID there were so many people that were just so thankful for their jobs and things like that when they weren't getting laid off and doing things, and hearing people that were nervous because they did buy a new house, or thinking, are they going to have a job, or what was going on. So the unexpected joys of leadership, I think, is just seeing people succeed and people be happy and where they're at, and they're bringing their family members to go with us. We have so many people that almost their whole entire families worked for us at one time. I mean, all the way down to the 15 or 16-year-old that's worked for us, and seeing those different generations of groups down there. And we have employees that have left us and gone to work for the state troopers, the crime lab, or real estate, or the railroad, or whatever else it is in their own careers. Police officers, firemen. I mean, just these great jobs and positions there. And what I think I take the joy in is that they work for us and they succeeded on where they wanted to go for the next thing. And we still keep in contact with a lot of those people. And it's neat to see that they've moved on to what their new career is going to be. But we were just a little sliver of the part of their relationship. So I like that part.
Yeah, and they're taking on our core values, our company culture, and they know what they're looking for and what they prefer in the next position. And I think that's probably a big chunk of it for me, is understanding how Raise Up is just who I am as a person. And when they adopt that themselves and they put it into practice, there's just things that they don't settle for anymore, because they just know that they're so much more happier in these other situations. It's this fire of personal growth that you see in their lives, where they're more peaceful, they're happy, they see that they're joyful.
Well, Athena is the whisper of that person. She gets these people away, and random people just come up and talk to her and tell her about things and what's going on with her, and she just has that inviting.
I cannot unhear a lot of things thanks to that.
She's very inviting to come over and say things to, so that makes it really nice. It's just leadership mistakes that make us better. I mean, admitting your mistakes, fixing them, trying not to recreate the same ones. I mean,
all of it has made me better. There isn't one thing that was hard that I have experienced in my life that has not made me better. Everything that I've experienced that was hard has made me better because I have special insight into all of it as a result.
Remember, guys, iron sharpens iron. When you're with somebody that's like-minded or you're around the same like-minded people, you tend to, I think, rub off on each other, and you guys start talking ideas, and it makes it better. There's a group of guys that I talk to that are quite a bit, and there's other business owners that we talk to, and we always bounce ideas off each other. And it's hard because sometimes you can't bounce it off your employee because they have no idea about the backside of what it does to the company, but you have somebody else that's smaller or bigger or the same size company you are, and we're all trying to help each other. Same thing we were talking about the person with the insurance. I mean, he's been in business for a long time, and he was struggling. He didn't know there was another way out, and it was just a simple phone call. And it was just, it was a simple phone call and an email, and boom, there he is. So I always think that there's a lot of room to help other people in small groups and getting business-minded people together. It really helps that way.
And an analogy that I think about is, how sometimes you go to the fridge and you're looking for the ketchup, and you can't find the ketchup, and then you need someone else to help you come find the ketchup, and it's right there, but sometimes we just can't see the ketchup, and it's not because we are blind, it's just sometimes you can't see the ketchup, and we need each other.
Well, it's the same as when we're looking for our keys and our keys in our hand, we're looking everywhere through the whole house. I'm like, I can't find these damn keys. And then you'll say, I'm like, are those the keys in your hand? She's like, are you kidding me? But you're so focused on it, and you have it in your hand, you picked it up, and then you knew you just set it down somewhere and you can't figure it out. But there's a lot going on when you're having 100, 200, 300 employees. There's a lot always of
And it could just be tasks. You might be somebody who doesn't have a bunch of employees, but you are so wrapped up in all the tasks that you've created for yourself that it's the same place.
Yeah, vendors, it doesn't matter, partnerships, whatever you're doing, it's get help. Ask people for help. There's nothing wrong for asking. They can't take your birthday away.
Yeah, and this isn't about you're smart or you're not smart, or you...
Smart people ask questions.
Yes, smart people are curious.
Yes.
So...
Not to say you're dumb if you're not. You just might be embarrassed or something like that, but ask questions. I mean, that's to get where you're at.
Write yourself a permission slip that I have permission to ask questions and be curious and explore outside solutions to internal situations.
Give that permission slip to that person and then tell them, do they have one?
Yeah, so, and really what this boils down to is getting in a feedback loop with people that you trust. And sometimes it's not the people that you're close to, that you're related to, it's other groups. There could be some people that you have hung out with your whole life and they're not business owners, and they are afraid for you because you're really going out on a limb, and they would never do that for themselves. They might not be the one to ask because they're in their own fear space. And so just be mindful, choose who you're asking, and intentionally, and receive the feedback. Even if it triggers you a little bit and you're like, well, I don't think it's that. You don't have to say anything. You can just say thank you and then see what you can do with it.
And that other person gave you that information, there might be people that think just like him too. Just because they don't think the same way we do, it doesn't make it right or wrong. It just means it's just another opinion or a different way of doing it.
Yeah.
And that's important. You have to have different ones. And even that employee that you were talking to, or a person that wasn't a business owner, he has a lot of great perspectives too. As an employee, what would he look for in a company? Where would he want to be? Where would he want to plant his seed? What kept him in his job so long? There's a lot of information you can get for him. It might not be the information of like who's going to do your taxes and who's going to take this and what's going to be the best route to sell in your company, but definitely for retainership and things like that, they have a lot of information too. And I think one thing that changed for us a long time ago too is I remember a lot of employees would come in and say, hey, you should do it this way, and we were like, oh, we've already done it that way 10 different times. But sometimes just hearing them out might just be a little different than it was the seventh person that told you this, because there's new ways of things happening, and we're not on the boots on the ground out driving all the time and doing stuff like that, so they see things more than we do. So I definitely like be able to hear what's going on from them so we can do course corrections.
And something else to consider is we're moving into our 26th year with just this organization, BAC, and there's things that we tried that didn't work back then because it was different people, it was different technology available. There were things that were going on that the conditions were different, but maybe that might work this time, or it works in this application. And so I would also caution that, oh yeah, we've already tried that, it didn't work. Really think about, okay, well, did it not work because it was a bad idea or because you didn't have this system that automated all these other aspects now?
Yeah, you didn't have the infrastructure for it.
Yeah.
It's a good idea, but it just didn't work. That's why I said, listen to what they have to say. So if something might have changed since that seventh time somebody's asked you to do it, then this time too, because there's lots of things that we just realized that work better than it did 2 years ago.
Yes.
All the time. So,
well, this is just a handful of stuff that nobody taught us about leadership, and hopefully some of it resonated with you. We're completely open for feedback from our listeners.
Yes.
Love for you to DM us or leave a comment, and
share our
thank you for
podcast
joining
too.
us.
If you have some people that you think that might benefit from this, share it to them. We'd love for you to share it to it. Like I said, we want to give back to the community. This is our way of giving back to other business owners and people that follow us and things like that. We want to be able to tell you just some small nuggets that you might be able to take away from this.
Yeah, and so we're the example of sharing
what to do and what not to do.
And sharing information,
Yes.
just getting out there and start sharing information, and what sticks on the wall, use that, and what doesn't, then no biggie.
Yeah. Well, thank you for joining us.
RaiseUpMindset.com. If you haven't seen our earlier episodes, we'd love for you to check those out.
We're on season 2.
Yes.
All right. Have a great day. Bye.